Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, guys, I want to go over the last couple of Toronto Maple Leaf games and also go over some interesting news and notes from the last little while. Let's start with some of the fun things before we start talking about some of the more serious stuff here. Mitch Marner leads the NHL in points with 33 and goals with 15 since coming out of protocol on January the 15th. I understand we're sort of cherry picking with that sample, but at the same time, anytime Mitch Marner leads the NHL in goals over the span of about a month and a half, that means something. This is a different player right now. This is a way more confident player than we've ever seen him in his career. And I'm really excited for what that could mean for the Maple Leafs in the playoffs. Austin Matthews started this year missing the first couple of games recovering from wrist surgery. And then it was a bit of a slow October, but ever since November the 1st, not only does he lead the NHL in goals with 36, he also leads the NHL in points. And the third member of that line, Michael Bunting, is 13th in the NHL in terms of total points per 60 at 5-on-5. He is not a passenger on that line. He is a contributor to, if not the best, one of the best lines in hockey so far this year. The man has 21 points in 22 games since the start of the new year. And yeah, I know he's got 11 goals in his last 22 games and he has a 20% shooting percentage, but at the same time, if you're looking at where all these shots are coming from, they're dead center, right in front of the net. I can't possibly say enough good things about the first line for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. And while this game was absolutely ridiculous and also a ton of fun, I can respect that it was also stressful. It comes at the height of, I don't want to call it a crisis, but the goaltending slump that's going on right now for the Maple Leafs. Since December the 1st, the Toronto Maple Leafs are second last in the NHL in terms of team 5-on-5 save percentage. I'm not going to lie to anyone. I am worried about the Maple Leafs goaltending situation. But at the same time, going back to March the 20th of last year, including the playoffs until December the 1st, Jack Campbell played in 44 out of a possible 55 games and had a .932 save percentage. And since December the 1st, he's been one of the worst goalies in the league. There is an in-between to that. And also, I know by the numbers, the Maple Leafs don't look bad defensively, but at the same time, I think that's where a stat like expected goals kind of fails, because I don't think that it's capturing the nuance. Because an expected goal, what it is trying to measure is it's trying to assign a percentage chance of a puck going in that is shot from this specific distance and at this specific angle. But it is not taking into an account the position of the player that's shooting the puck or the players around the puck or the speed at which things are happening. Now, the goaltending definitely isn't helping. If anything, it's compounding the problems that we're seeing with the defense. You're allowed to ask your goalie for a save here and there. But there's also been some unforced errors or just not playing well in front of your own net that leads to a lot of things that shouldn't be dangerous ending up being dangerous. But the goaltending really needs to be better. It really needs to be better. And that would make the defense look better as well. And the goaltending has been bad, yeah, but it's frustratingly bad because we know that they can be better. Like I said a little bit earlier on in the video, Jack Campbell before December the 1st played in 44 out of a possible 55 games going back to March the 20th of last year and had a save percentage of .932. There is an in-between between that and what he is right now. And I do think that he will figure it out. I am worried, but there is still time between now and the trade deadline, and even after that. If it's still as bad as it has been come the deadline, yeah, I would be hitting the panic button as much as I could. And I don't think that we should ignore the Minnesota game, because the Wild are a very good offensive team this year, and the Maple Leafs put forth a very good defensive effort, and Peter Mrazek, maybe aside from one heart attack moment, played a really good game. If we're looking at the quote from Sheldon Keefe post-game, he says, He put Mrazek in a horrible spot, throwing him in late in such a wild game, but he notes that it was an important decision. Now, this quote kind of goes hand in hand with another that I'll put up on the screen in a second here, but Peter Mrazek is getting the start tonight against the Washington Capitals, and Sheldon Keefe says that that's going to give Jack Campbell some time to clear his head. The quote from today goes with the one from the other night, where Sheldon Keefe says, Jack has to be better. Wash this one. And if you read the extended quotes, he's basically just brutally honest with how Campbell's play has been this year. Very, very good the first couple of months, and then very, very bad the last couple of months. But before we move off of the last couple of games, I want to end on a positive note here. I noticed this absolute wild stat when I was looking at the box score after that Detroit Leafs game. In a 10-7 win, Rasmus Sandin and Ilya Lyubushkin played 15 minutes and 33 seconds of time on ice together and were on the ice for 1 goal for and 0 goals against. If you look at Rasmus Sandin individually, he was actually on the ice for 2 goals for and 0 goals against. Connor or O Nyquist here on YouTube. By the way, if you're not subscribed to him, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description of this video, but he's got like 60,000 subscribers. He definitely doesn't need the shout out. But he replied to me because he's a Red Wings fan, and he says, how's that work? And I replied back to him, literally nothing happens with Lyubushkin on the ice. Nothing. And it's beautiful. I'm not going to have enough time to go as in-depth as I'd like to on this subject today, so I'll probably do a video on it later on in the week. The trade videos do get a lot more views, but I do want to do actual analysis from time to time, and that's what these videos are. But at the same time, I saw someone tweeting about William Nylander and John Tavares' numbers away from Alex Kerfoot at 5-on-5 so far this year. And your name escapes me, but I know that you watch the channel, so please leave a comment so that I can properly shout you out. Without Alex Kerfoot, they are deployed in a more favorable offensive role, but at the same time, with him, it's still a favorable offensive role. The fact that they are so much better offensively in every single category without him, except for just the actual goals, and that just being a product of a low shooting percentage, and I think that we can agree that Kerfoot is not the sniper driving that line. We've gotten this far into the video, and there's just so much to talk about that I haven't even gotten an opportunity to touch on Nick Robertson making his season debut in that absolute circus game against the Red Wings. Now, in about the 8 minutes that he played, which it's kind of hard to analyze 8 minutes, I thought that he had a couple of really good scoring opportunities. There was one right in the slot where he just missed the net, and then there was another where he was coming out behind the net and almost had a wraparound goal. I liked his energy in the game. He made some nice plays in the defensive zone. I like it. Picasso. I'm sorry. When the joke is there, I'm gonna take it. I'd like to see him in a top 6 role. That's what I'll say for now. And then also it was pointed out on the broadcast of that absolutely insane game that Friedman at the intermission says that the Leafs will not hold Muzzin out until the playoffs if he is healthy enough to get back before the playoffs. They are not approaching this as if they have $7 million in LTIR cap space to spend. They're looking at it like they have $2 million to spend. Okay, Maple Leafs, it was like last year when I suggested that Frederik Andersen go on an LTIR conditioning stint with the Marlies, and then 2 weeks later, Sheldon Keefe was asked about it, and he said that the idea was ridiculous, and then it happened anyway. You can't take anything that they say for face value, because of course they wouldn't hold him out until the playoffs if he was healthy. Of course they wouldn't do that. The thing that I keep coming back to is that if Muzzin was coming back before the start of the playoffs, why is Kyle Clifford on the active roster right now, just burning through all the cap space that they deliberately worked so hard to save up throughout the year with making all these stupid paper transactions every single day? Why are they comfortable just burning through the $300,000 that they have to absolutely scrape the bottom of the barrel to accumulate? Just doesn't make any sense. Taking a look at the standings right now, the Maple Leafs are 2 points back of the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they played an extra game. But they're 3 points back of the Florida Panthers with a game in hand. And they still play the Lightning and Panthers 2 more times each between now and the end of the regular season. Those matchups are going to be so much fun. Or they could be devastating. Depends. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. By the way, if you didn't catch my giant asterisks Next to the fact that the Maple Leafs are 26th in 5-on-5 save percentage since February the 1st, the Panthers are 27th. Even worse. And that's what I've been saying all season long, and even before the season started. How do you take a team like the Florida Panthers seriously with Sergei Bobrovsky as their goalie? The guy the last 2 seasons has had a .902 save percentage. Yes, the rest of the team is an absolute juggernaut, but why is everyone talking about the Leafs goaltending situation being an absolute shambles and no one looking at the Panthers and saying the same? Before I end off the video here, I just want to give a special shout out to Reese and your dad, Robert, if you're watching. I believe that those are your names. I got them off of the game sheet. I'm sorry, it was a little bit of a rushed conversation afterwards because we were in between games, but I do timekeeping for the NYHL on Sundays, and I went over to get the game sheet from the referee before it started, and I noticed that one of the kids on the ice were like pointing and smiling and then waving at me, and I knew right away that you must watch the video. So he skates over and goes, "Are you Downtown Sports?" And I go, "Yeah, buddy, that's me." And he rushed right back over to the bench to tell his dad, and at that point, yeah, I could only assume that the two of you watched the videos together, and that made my night. So thank you very much. And I got to chat with you a little bit afterwards. You guys dropped a tough game 4-3, but you were down 4-1 going into the third. Reese, you won a lot of big face-offs, killed off a huge penalty. It was a pleasure. Thank you for making my night. And I say it like that because I'm just the guy that talks about the Leafs here on YouTube. You know, I'm a fan just like everyone else. I guess I'm also a journalism student, but I'm a fan also. And I just want to talk about the Leafs with everyone. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like the video if you did like it, and subscribe for more because more is always on the way. And I'll talk to you again real soon.